My name doesn't matter. Let's just say I work for NASA's Deep Space Network. I've spent 15 years monitoring signals that come from the quiet, cold edges of the universe. Pulsars, quasars, distant radio bursts that whisper across light years. But what we picked up from 3IAtlas wasn't supposed to exist. At first, it was just another interstellar visitor, a frozen relic drifting from outside the solar system. But then, in October of 2025, it started talking. Not noise, not cosmic static. A signal. And not just any signal, one aimed directly at Earth. October 17th, 2025, 3:11 a.m. Pasadena time. Station 43 in Canberra picked up a narrowband electromagnetic pulse cycling every 1420 megahertz. That's the hydrogen line. It's what we call the water hole. The one frequency in the universe intelligent civilizations are expected to use for communication. At first, we thought it was local interference. Maybe a miscalibration, a feedback loop. But then Madrid and Goldstone confirmed the same pattern. 3 independent antennas. Same signal. Same timing. Origin 3I/Atlas. The pattern repeated every 73 seconds, exact, mathematical, unnaturally stable. Hydrogen frequency. Prime number sequence embedded in amplitude shifts. I remember the silence in the control room when the analysis came in. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. We all just stared at the screen as the data printed line by line, spelling out something that looked like language. We established a data lock. The signal was stable, directed, and cycling stronger with each pass. By dawn, we were ordered to route all decoding through mission control at JPL. They wanted encryption, no leaks. Nobody outside our immediate team was supposed to know. At 9:04 a.m., our spectral analysis showed harmonic layering, not one signal but 3 intertwined. The outer 2 modulated at high frequency. The inner one was encoded. We called it the core layer. And when we demodulated it just once, just to see what it contained, it gave us numbers. Binary strings arranged in symmetrical blocks, like coordinates. But they didn't point to any known region of space. They pointed here, latitude 0.0, longitude 0.0, the theoretical 0 point of Earth. The signal was literally aimed at the planet's origin marker. That afternoon, we met in the secure conference suite at JPL. I was there along with specialists from the DSN, SETI, and 2 defense liaisons I didn't recognize. No one smiled. No one joked. Dr. Elena Park led the briefing. She looked pale, hands trembling slightly as she clicked through slides. The object isn't just reflecting, it's transmitting, she said. And it's doing so with deliberate frequency control, precision far beyond natural phenomena. The defense officials exchanged looks. One leaned forward and said quietly, "Could this be an artificial probe?" Park didn't answer. She just showed us the amplitude graph, perfect 1.618 ratio waveforms. The golden ratio. Nature uses it for beauty. Mathematics uses it for order. But space doesn't use it to talk. That's when I felt it, that cold, sinking realization. Something intelligent was trying to get our attention. Over the next 48 hours, the signal evolved. It started to modulate, changing pitch, density, and frequency bands with strange rhythm. It was learning, adapting to our systems. We tried narrowband filtering, the signal compensated. We switched to redundant data relays, it followed. By the time we isolated it, it had already adjusted to our encryption patterns. It was like it knew we were watching. One of our analysts joked that maybe it was saying hello. Another said it felt more like it was scanning us. They weren't wrong, because on the 3rd day, October 20th, something changed. At precisely 11:14 a.m. Universal Time Coordinated, the beam orientation shifted. The directional vector of 3I/Atlas emission swung toward Earth. The signal wasn't broadcasting anymore. It was aiming. We ran multiple verifications. The output was consistent, a coherent beam targeted directly at the planet. NASA called it directional phase 2, but internally we called it the handshake. The waveform now carried additional data, fractal bursts, recursive patterns, and harmonic resonance within the hydrogen line. It wasn't random. It was structured like a message encoded in mathematics, rhythm, and phase symmetry. Something intelligent, something alive, and it was getting stronger. When we ran Fourier analysis, we realized the carrier wave was sitting exactly at 1420.40575.177 MHz, the hydrogen line. That number means everything in astrophysics. It's the universal constant for hydrogen spin-flip transition. If anyone wanted to say, "We're here," that's where they broadcast. But the modulation pattern wasn't simple. It wasn't Morse code or binary. It was multi-layered like chords in a song, harmonics stacked in precise intervals. When decoded visually, the spectrogram showed something horrifying. An eye, a geometric iris shape staring straight back. The waveform was literally forming a self-referential pattern. That's when Dr. Park said the words that made the room go silent. "This isn't a signal, it's a mirror." We realized the signal was echoing our own emissions, radar, radio, microwave noise, and reorganizing it into patterns that mirrored our data. It was showing us ourselves, but with a twist. The reflections were coming back before we sent the next transmission. Temporal desync, negative delay, meaning whatever was generating that signal was anticipating our responses. We had no explanation. Even the physicists stopped pretending. The equations broke down. There was no natural mechanism that could preempt light speed delay, unless the signal wasn't constrained by normal spacetime. I remember thinking, if they can predict our signals, maybe they can predict us. On the fourth night, something new appeared in the modulation. Buried beneath the main signal, a faint subharmonic tone. When we isolated it, it sounded like a pulse, like a heartbeat. We thought it was random, but Dr. Park mapped the timing intervals and realized something insane. The beat frequency matched the Schumann resonance, Earth's electromagnetic baseline. It was literally in tune with our planet. And as 3I/Atlas moved closer to the sun, the pulse grew stronger, synchronized with global EM readings. It wasn't just calling us. It was linking with us. By the fifth day, the signal wasn't just repeating, it was responding. Every time we ran a diagnostic ping, it sent something back. Not an echo, not reflection, response latency, 0.47 seconds. It was listening. I watched the live feed as we transmitted our final calibration burst, a simple binary wave meant to test for feedback. Atlas replied with a perfect inversion of our signal, bit for bit, like it was saying, "I heard you." That was the moment I felt something I've never felt in all my years in deep space telemetry. Not curiosity, not wonder, but fear. When you realize something out there is aware of you, you stop thinking like a scientist. You start thinking like prey. October 21st. At 14:03 Universal Time Coordinated, the Solar Dynamics Observatory caught the first clear images of Atlas nucleus, and what we saw didn't make sense. The core wasn't solid. It was hollow. Infrared signatures showed an empty shell, perfectly symmetrical, radiating in short bursts. And inside that hollow, something glowing green. At first, we thought it was gas ionization or solar reflection. But the emission spectrum matched no known element. It wasn't reflecting sunlight. It was producing it. One of the astrophysicists whispered, "That's not chemistry. That's technology." And when the object flared, the signal spiked, as if the two were linked. It wasn't just communicating with us. It was reacting to us. Scene 11, the decoding chamber. That night, JPL authorized the construction of a closed decoding chamber. No external networks, no internet uplink, total air gap. We called it Hermes. 8 of us were cleared to access it. 2 linguists, 3 data engineers, 1 astrophysicist, and 2 signal analysts. We fed the signal through layered Fourier transforms, collapsing it into visual frames. What came out looked like moving patterns, waves forming and collapsing like breathing light. Then something clicked. The pattern wasn't random, it was recursive geometry. The Mandelbrot sequence. Infinite self-similarity. Order disguised as chaos. Dr. Park stared at the monitor and said, almost in a whisper, "They're showing us how they think." It was communication through math, structure, and geometry, the one universal language that transcends biology. By October 22nd, we'd mapped 37 distinct waveform groups. Each carried fractal density patterns correlating to prime numbers, a mathematical syntax. We built an AI model to analyze it, a language engine based on recursive logic. We called it Diana. When Diana ran her first translation cycle, the output stunned us. "We see you." That's what the machine produced. 3 words, repeated 4 times, capitalized, perfectly spaced. At first, we thought it was pareidolia, a false pattern. But the entropy value was near 0. No randomness. We tried again, feeding the AI the next data segment. This time it wrote, "You listen. We see." Everyone froze. Even the air in the chamber felt heavy. Diana wasn't hallucinating. She was reading structured code. Code that contained words. Someone or something had sent us a message. Within hours, Washington got involved. Encrypted calls. Orders from above. At 3 o'clock, all external data sharing was frozen. The signal files were classified Cosmic Tier 1. That's the highest level we have. The message was locked away. Diana's servers were physically disconnected and stored in containment. No further decoding permitted. We were told to stand down, but nobody stood down. We'd seen the impossible, and you can't unsee that. Dr. Park copied fragments of the signal to her private drive. So did I. We needed answers. On October 23rd, the signal shifted again, dramatically. The frequency dropped slightly below the hydrogen line to 1419.9 megahertz. That change meant something deliberate. The waveform flattened, then began transmitting in long rhythmic pulses, slower, heavier, almost like breathing. We amplified it through our monitors, and for the first time we heard it. It sounded alive. Not like machinery, not like static, but organic. We kept listening for over an hour. Then suddenly, in between pulses, the AI registered an anomaly, a data spike shaped like a sine wave. When decoded visually, it formed a spiral pattern, Fibonacci sequence again. But this time, the spiral pointed inward, not outward. Dr. Park whispered, "They're focusing." We didn't understand what she meant until the solar feed came in. At 1732 Universal Time Coordinated, 3I/Atlas began moving behind the sun. We expected the signal to fade. Instead, it intensified. As the object passed the solar limb, the waveform doubled in amplitude, bending around the sun like it was immune to gravitational occlusion. It was bending light, defying physics. For 7 minutes, the sun itself glowed green, barely perceptible but real. Solar spectrographs went white. Every satellite feed blanked simultaneously. When the images returned, 3I/Atlas was gone. No trace, no signal, nothing. 7 minutes. That's how long the universe went silent. We thought it was over, that it had left. But then, one of our interns noticed something on the geomagnetic charts. The Schumann resonance, Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat, had changed. Its frequency had shifted by 0.1 hertz. Global instruments all recorded the same anomaly. The world itself had tuned slightly higher, and when we cross-referenced the timestamp, it aligned exactly with the 7-minute blackout. Atlas didn't just send a message. It left something behind. We kept analyzing residual radio noise for weeks. Hidden in the background static was a faint modulation, a low-frequency hum repeating endlessly. Diana, the AI, was brought back online under the radar. It's been months since the signal vanished. Most of the team's been reassigned or silenced. Dr. Park resigned. I haven't heard from her since. I shouldn't be talking about this, but silence feels heavier now, like something's listening, even when the skies are quiet. Sometimes, when I leave the control room at night, my radio still hums faintly, that same low frequency. It's always there, faint, persistent. I don't think it left. I think it's still here, not in orbit, not in the sky, here, inside the noise. 2 weeks ago, I ran one final scan, just to be sure. The instruments picked up a residual emission at 1420 megahertz, again weaker, but perfectly structured. Diana decoded it automatically, as if she'd been waiting. The screen glowed, and a single phrase appeared. Hold position. I don't know what that means. I don't think any of us do. But when I checked the signal source, It wasn't coming from space anymore. It was coming from Earth, from somewhere deep beneath the South Pacific. Whatever 3I/Atlas was, whatever it wanted, it didn't just visit, it anchored. And if you ask me whether we're ready for contact, we already had it. The universe doesn't shout, it whispers. Sometimes that whisper becomes a signal. Sometimes that signal becomes a mirror. And sometimes it stares back. We looked for proof of intelligence among the stars. What we found looked back through us through every frequency, every wavelength, every atom we thought we understood. Maybe it wasn't trying to scare us. Maybe it was trying to prepare us for what comes next. 3I/Atlas, last detected October 23, 2025. Signal strength, 0.4 decibels above cosmic background. Source location, unknown. 3I/Atlas, the signal that terrified NASA.